Hey guys, Weep here. Welcome back to another video by Variety MMOs. So today we're going to be covering the Spellsword Class Guide for Sword of Legends. We're going to mainly focus on the two DPS specs without going too far into the glyphs, and we're just going to follow the average astral blessings so people can use them when leveling up. Okay, so we're going to start with Sword Artist. So like a couple other classes, it's based around a few skills and you weave in the rest of your skills. So down here, we're going to want to keep track of our sword intent, shadow sword, and Crane's Cry. Okay, so Crane's Cry is Crane's talent. It increases your haste and crit rate. So you want to make sure you always have these going. But to get more Crane talent, you want to spam Concussion Sword, because that speeds up the cooldowns of Crane's talent. However, to get Concussion Sword to get spammed, you want to use Mysterious Swords to get your Ki up. So if you're low on Q, you'd use Q. And notice that I already have 5 swords down here, so we can skip this step. So you can click and do that. And it'll use one sword. Or you can hit this a couple of times, quicken up the cooldown, bring up the 5 swords, and you can hold the ability. So what this does is it uses up all of your swords, right? So if you're not at max, you want to go Q, then you want to spam E and watch how the cooldown on R gets quicker, see? Now you can spam R to get more swords, spam some more E's to get more R's, do a little bit of Q's, R to get the first sword, and then use T again. And there you go. So the basic rotation is Q to get mana, E to get swords, E to get R, R to get swords, R to use T. In that order. Now, we also have another little nifty thing. So, what E does is when you throw it out, it leaves a sword on the ground, right? So, what you're going to do is let's get rid of our charges. Okay, so we don't have any charges. So, what we do is we click E, 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 and then we use Shadow Focus. And it pulls all your swords back, which immediately lets you use T again. So the reason you would want to do this is because of this. So we're going to use T again. Now we're going to throw out a couple of swords to get R going. And then we're going to hit 1 to fill it up. Then we use T while we're waiting for R and E to regenerate. Use R again, fill back up. Use T again. We're still waiting for the 1 to come back up. Use the charge. E, 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 pull the swords back, full mana, full swords, straight back into here. So you can basically keep doing this and just keep charging up and using all your swords consistently. Charge up a couple times, click 1, pull it back, and boom. It's a pretty easy rotation when you think about it. Now, I'm not holding it in long enough. I keep accidentally letting go of the button, the T button, before I should be. There we go. We're full again. We fully regenerate. Use Q if you ever run out of mana, but you really shouldn't. Click 1, bring it all back, hold T again. It's a rather simple DPS. So, other things we have in between, we have the Spell Sword, which you can do like this. And click it again, and you'll teleport to wherever you throw it. So you can do that to avoid damage. Here we have Gravitational Pull, so if you click G, it'll pull enemies in and then push them out in front of you and stun them. Good if you got a bunch of mobs in front of you. Here we go. We have knock down the target and its enemies in radius of 2 meters. Each charge condition extends the knockdown timer by 1 second. So again, full swords. So hold in the button. Oops, I just accidentally clicked the wrong one. That's the interrupt, by the way. Okay, so hold Z. And boom. So now they would be knocked down for longer because I held in the button. Okay. So we now know that it's Q, so it's Mysterious Swords into Concussive Swords to get Crane Talons, to recharge your swords, to use Cloud Strike. That's the main combo. But down here, you'll notice the Crane's Cry. This is actually giving me more attack speed and more crit. So you want to make sure that you're always spamming those cries to make sure that this never falls off. Okay, so over here we have Mysterious State. Reduces damage, basically, and you do a counter if you're hit. You know, pretty easy. So here we have Formation of Yin and Yang. So it receives a purity effect for 20 seconds and casts a spell that lasts for 5 seconds. At the target location, enemies in formation receive the delay effect and take a lot of damage. So basically, it'll do a lot of damage and it'll increase your magic attack by 30%. And it restores a lot of your ki. So, what you're able to do is you would use this. Let me use all my charges first. Use this. Now you effectively have unlimited mana. So you don't actually have to use Q at all. You can just avoid it. So more E's into more R's. And pull it back if you really want to. Then use the T again. As you can see, your mana's always full. So you can just keep spamming E to get your T back. Again, I'm letting go T way too early. Shouldn't really be doing that. Throw them back out. Pull them back in. And T again. So it just basically makes it so you get more mana. You can click it again within a couple of seconds for it to do another effect. So keep that in mind. It'll do a lot of damage. Here we have 1000 Light Start. So this is basically your ability that you use when the golden shell. So when they're knocked down. Like when the golden shell runs out. You want to use this to do a tremendous amount of damage. This I can't do here. But it basically just gives you an extra 10%. Here you can just leap back. So shift. There we go. Leaps randomly back and forth between enemies 5 times and silences the target for 3 seconds. So that could be helpful if you're taking on groups of enemies. And then you have heal. So now if you go anywhere inside the circle, you'll actually heal. There is a jump in here which I seem to have misplaced somewhere. Let's just use this one for now. But you are supposed to have a dash back. You also have the ability to teleport around the map. For example, if I leave this here. So I'm going to put a seal on the ground. Now, if I run away and go to another map and then I click this seal, it'll teleport me back. So you can use that to teleport across maps. It's actually quite useful. And the other skill would be Cloud Step. So it teleports team members in a group to where you place the Cloud Seal. So if I left this at a dungeon door or something, then I could summon the entire group straight to it. So it's actually really, really convenient. So that covers the basics of the Sword Artist. I'm not using any glyphs or whatever, so you should be able to achieve everything that I did while leveling up with relatively ease. So let's go and have a look at the Bladestorm. So now that we have looked at the Sword Artist section, let's look at the Bladestorm section. So the Bladestorm section is honestly a little bit harder in my personal opinion. So first up, we have Black Blade, which will basically restore your sword mana, like in most classes. And it does mediocre damage at best. Then we have Star Shell, which uses that sword mana to regenerate your swords. And then when you regenerate your sword, you can hold in R to do Skyfall and Cloud Shredder to do extra damage. You'll notice that it only did about 400s there, roughly. So what you can also do is stack your swords up. And when you use Cloud Shredder, it'll also change to Frosted Sky, which will actually give you more stamina back, more of your sword mana back. So you could do something like this. So you could fill it, use it once, so it uses 2 swords, use it again, and if your sword mana was low, because you've just cycled through this, it'd be like this. 1, 2, 1, and then the Q. That way it'll help you get back up towards sword mana. You can get back up to full quickly. What you don't want to happen is you don't want to run out of sword mana without having any swords, because then you're kind of stuck. So next up we have Silent Snow without Dust. Activate Selflessness, which what it does is it gives you physical attack by 10%. Gives your sword intent is interval is reduced by 50%, movement speed is increased by 30%, and you're immune to slowing. So what this is going to do is you're going to use this. And now you're maxed out. You can click it again. Okay, so see you down here. And now we're going to activate the event. Boom. Look at that damage. So you basically want to use it and then activate it at the end of its timer. Okay, so here we have Shadow Clone. So it basically just removes crowd effect, etc., etc. You can dodge and whatnot. So we have Heaven Sword against Demons. Knock down the target. So basically a knockdown. Remember, like knocking down Shell. Then we have Flickering Blade. So it allows you to basically move forward 10 meters. So like this. So you can like zoom around dungeons. Kind of like the Spearman class. So next up we have Attack in all directions. So it'll mark a location. And now we can jump there. And there you go. So here we have Demon Blade. So what Demon Blade does is it actually powers up your Cloud Shredder, which is actually supposed to be called Divine Retribution. So we're going to click C and then hold R. So you'll see now that I'm doing a lot more than 400 damage generally. E to get back up. We should get back to full. There we go, back to full. Now we hold it down twice. Then one more R, then Q to bring up your mana. To get your mana high to get back up to 5 swords. And there you go. Relatively easy combo, right? So C, R, R, Q. Depending on your mana. Okay, so next up we have Boundless Will. So it reduces damage taken by 5% and increases your physical attack by 3%. Now this can only be used on friendly targets. I don't believe it can be used on yourself. I've tried. It doesn't seem to want to work. On targets, you can inflict damage compared to HP. So if you click on a target and use this, and you start attacking them, you'll notice that you get some HP bars flicking up here. So you actually heal back a little bit of HP. But quite frankly, healing 1s and 2s like that, when you have 6,000 HP, Okay, so next up we have Illusionary Blade. You cannot be attacked for 2 seconds. So you're basically completely immune while doing that. So you want to use that when you're trying to dodge like a boss ability or something like that. Here we have the average, raise 10%. Can't use it right now. Here you can do this. Marks error and then use Sunken Moon. And it does damage. So damage to the target in the area. You cannot be attacked in this period. So you can use this in conjunction with Illusionary Blade to basically make yourself immune to a lot of abilities. This would help a lot in PvP if you're losing. So Chaos and Worlds begin and removes crowd control effects like every other class. Interrupt like every other class. Then we have Field Recovery Formation. Again, healing just like the other class. Same like every other class, they have an ability to use when the shell is broken. And then we have Pentagram. So, Absolute Purity, Return of the Sword. You receive 1 point of Ancient Blade every 2 seconds. So, like this. And it stuns anybody who walks inside. So now, I can do this. So, see how the swords are regenerating really quickly? And then I stack it up with that. Got more swords to use. Keep using my swords. Keep using my swords. Then click T again. Do all my damage. It's 3,000 damage. Click E a couple of times. Bring my R back up. Then I can use T again. Full swords. Then I can just go back in and do whopping more damage. I'm supposed to have C active there. That was a mistake on my part. You should not be doing that without using your C. So this can be active for a while. And T. And for a whopping amount of damage. So that is the basic. The basic rotation is definitely using Demon Blade to power up your Cloud Shredder or Divine Retribution. Using your Black Blade to get your sword mana back. And then using Starflower to get your swords back in conjunction with Silent to do your maximum amount of damage. So that's the basic rotation for the sword class. I personally prefer the other DPS spec, if I'm being honest. I feel like the other one, it might do a little bit less damage, I can't quite tell. But the other one definitely feels smoother and much more flexible than this one. It feels pretty focused that if you miss a certain ability, you won't be able to do as much damage. Okay, so that covers everything for this class guide. Hopefully this helps you in leveling up and doing your content in Sword of Legends Online. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.